So, you know that feeling when you're walking out the door, you pat your pocket,
And it's empty.
yes, it's completely empty, your phone isn't there. And for a split second, I mean, your heart actually skips a beat.
Oh, absolutely.
You experience this literal physiological spike of panic over, you know, a piece of glass and metal.
It's a completely involuntary reaction, really.
Yeah.
Your amygdala basically perceives a threat
Yeah.
and triggers a fight or flight response.
Right.
It's almost as if you've suddenly realized you are stepping off a cliff. I mean, we have fundamentally wired this device into our sense of safety, our social standing, and just our basic existence.
And it is absolutely exhausting. So today, for you, the learner, we are doing a deep dive into some really remarkable research.
Yeah, fascinating stuff.
It is. We're looking at the digital balance blueprint, specifically chapters 11 through 25, to figure out how to, rewire ourselves. But let's establish our mission right up front.
Right. Let's set the ground rules.
Exactly. We are not here to lecture you. We are not going to tell you to throw your smartphone in the ocean or, cancel your internet and move to some off-grid cabin in the woods.
Yeah, that's just not realistic. Technology is a tool and a highly effective one. The goal of this deep dive isn't some forced regression into the Stone Age.
Right.
Our mission is to look at the data, extract the most actionable insights from this material, and figure out how to move from a baseline of constant digital exhaustion to a life of, intentional, balanced living.
Intentional living. I like that.
Exactly. We're talking about practically regaining control over your time and, crucially, your attention.
Okay, let's unpack this, because before we can fix a problem, we really have to look at the severity of it, right? The psychological baseline of our modern digital dependence.
We do. And it's heavier than people think.
Right. The text begins by outlining the sheer emotional toll of constant connectivity. It feels like we are walking around with an IV drip of information, and the moment the line is pinched, we just go into psychological withdrawal.
What's fascinating here is that is exactly what is happening on a neurochemical level.
Wait, really? Like physically?
Literally. The blueprint points out that digital dependence heavily compromises our emotional stability by hijacking our dopaminergic pathways.
Okay, the dopamine loops.
Right. Every notification, every single ping delivers a tiny, completely unearned hit of dopamine. And when you remove that constant stimulation, we see a severe spectrum of withdrawal symptoms.
Oh, wow. So what does that look like day to day?
On the everyday side of the spectrum, the text notes things we all probably recognize in ourselves. Irritability, sudden mood swings.
Severely reduced patience. I definitely feel that one.
Oh, we all do. And just a lingering, heavy emotional fatigue.
Yeah, and the source material doesn't shy away from the extreme end of that spectrum either. I mean, it notes that recent media reports have highlighted deeply tragic instances of students actually committing suicide when their phone usage was restricted.
It's incredibly dark.
Or when it was taken away by parents. That is a heartbreaking, extreme reaction, but it illustrates just how structural this dependency has become,
It does. It shows the sheer scale of the problem.
The device isn't just a toy anymore. For some people, it has literally become their entire emotional scaffolding.
It's deeply concerning.
Yeah.
Because when you abruptly remove a primary coping mechanism, even if it's a highly maladaptive one, without replacing it with physical or social support, the emotional collapse can be devastating.
The dopamine loop is just severed.
Exactly. Severed completely. But even for the average user, the constant connectivity detail in the research means there is simply no space for mental rest. We never truly clock out.
Right. Which brings up a bit of a chicken or egg scenario for me. I actually have to push back on the premise a bit here.
Oh, go for it.
Is it the technology itself causing this emotional fatigue? Or is it society's expectation that we just must remain constantly available, like work emails pinging at 9 p.m., social media updates that demand an immediate reaction?
It's a blur.
Total blur. The boundaries between being on the clock and off the clock are just completely gone.
Well, what's fascinating here is that the two are inextricably linked.
How so?
The technology creates the infrastructure for constant availability. That creates the societal expectation, which in turn drives more technology use. It's a feedback loop.
Oh, I see.
The research explained that this lack of separation between personal life and digital activity creates a profound mental exhaustion. And the reason why is mind-blowing.
Lay it on me.
Because the human brain actually requires offline downtime to consolidate memories, process complex emotions, and physically clear out metabolic waste from your neurons.
Wait, hold on. Actual physical waste, like a biological cleaning process.
Precisely. It's called the glymphatic system.
Okay.
During periods of deep rest, your brain's glymphatic system clears out toxins that accumulate during waking hours. But when you are receiving a work email at 9 p.m., your sympathetic nervous system stays engaged.
So you're stuck in fight or flight.
Yes. Your brain is forced to remain in a state of hypervigilance. You are biologically denying your brain the ability to shift into the parasympathetic rest and digest state required to recover. You are literally always on call.
Always on call. Wow. So we have this diagnosis, right? We are emotionally fatigued, our boundaries are obliterated, and our brains are literally swimming in metabolic waste because we just won't let them power down.
It sounds bleak when you put it like that.
It does. But the logical next step the blueprint gives us is identifying a cure. It introduces this concept of digital minimalism. But it's very careful to define what that actually means.
Yes, because digital minimalism, at least as defined here, is not an aesthetic. It's not a complete rejection of modern life.
Right, no log cabins.
Right. It is the practice of intentional usage. It's about focusing exclusively on tools and activities that genuinely add value to your life, improve your relationships, and increase your productivity.
While tossing the rest.
Exactly. Ruthlessly stripping away the digital noise that doesn't serve you.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner? How do we actually transition from the abstract idea of intentional usage into our real, messy lives?
That's the million-dollar question.
The text says it starts with awareness. And I'll challenge you right now as you're listening to this deep dive. When you look at your smartphone's screen time report and see how many times you just picked up your phone in a single day, it is a massive reality check.
It is the ultimate objective mirror. We often suffer from a severe cognitive disconnect.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a huge gap between how much time we think we spend on our devices and how much time we actually spend.
Oh, for sure. We always underestimate it.
Always. So the material highlights the critical importance of these screen time reports. They track your daily device usage, identify your most used apps, measure the exact number of phone pickups, and calculate your notification frequency.
I actually looked at mine the other day.
Oh yeah, how was it?
Brutal. The number of pickups was over 100. 100 times I interrupted whatever I was doing in the physical world to just look at a screen.
It's a very common number, actually.
It's insane. It's a glaring symptom of the unhealthy habits the text warns about. Checking the phone constantly, ignoring real-life responsibilities, and just, struggling to stay offline for even an hour.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, looking at these cold, hard metrics fundamentally shifts a person from a state of passive consumption to a state of active accountability.
Because you can't lie to yourself anymore.
You can't argue with the data. And the psychological mechanism at play here is something called attention residue.
Attention residue. Okay, explain that to me. It sounds sticky.
It kind of is. Every single time you pick up your phone, one of those 100 pickups, you initiate a context switch.
Okay.
Even if you only glance at an email for 3 seconds and put the phone down, a portion of your cognitive bandwidth remains stuck on that email. That's the residue.
Oh, wow. So you're leaving a trail of your brain behind.
Exactly. Every time you switch contexts, you lose executive function, and it takes significant time and caloric energy to re-engage with your original task.
That explains why I'm so tired by noon.
Right. By forcing awareness around your notification frequency and pickups, you are diagnosing the exact source of your cognitive drain.
Okay, so we know we are distracted. We have the data proving we pick up our phones 100 times a day, leaving a trail of attention residue everywhere. Now we have to talk about action.
Time to fix it.
Right. This brings us to environment design. The research hits on something that I think is going to resonate with a lot of people. Digital clutter directly equals mental stress.
Absolutely. I mean, we intuitively understand physical clutter.
Right, like a messy desk.
Yeah. If your physical desk is covered in trash and unpaid bills, you feel a spike in cortisol just looking at it. But we often ignore digital clutter because it doesn't take up physical space in a room.
Out of sight, out of mind, or so we think.
Exactly. But your brain's visual cortex processes it the exact same way. The text lists the main culprits here. Thousands of unread emails, unnecessary apps crowding your home screen.
Oh, the little red notification badges.
Yes. Disorganized files and endless constant subscriptions.
It's a massive cognitive load. Your brain is using actual caloric energy to subconsciously process and ignore those little red badges every single time you unlock your screen.
It is exhausting.
Trying to reduce your screen time without decluttering your phone it's like trying to eat healthy while keeping your pantry entirely stuffed with junk food.
That is a perfect analogy.
The environment dictates the behavior. If the junk is there, you're going to consume it. The blueprint says the solution is ruthless. Delete unused apps, organize your folders, unsubscribe from the noise, create a cleaner digital environment to create a calmer mind.
It is really about reducing those visual triggers, but decluttering is only half the battle.
What's the other half?
The next step introduces the necessity of setting structural boundaries to reduce overall smartphone dependence. We're talking about specific, actionable strategies.
Like what?
For example, using your phone in grayscale mode.
Grayscale, like black and white.
Yes. When you remove the vibrant reds and blues, the app icons don't trigger the dopaminergic pathways quite as effectively. It literally makes the device boring to look at.
That is such a hack.
It really works. Other strategies include establishing rules like no phones during meals, keeping the phone physically away from your desk during deep work hours, and perhaps most importantly, turning off every non-essential notification.
Don't let the machine interrupt you. You decide when to check the machine.
Precisely.
And the material really zeroes in on managing social media intentionally, too. It doesn't tell you to delete all your accounts. It says, curate them, follow positive accounts, actively limit your scrolling time, take regular offline breaks, and avoid the trap of unnecessary comparisons.
Which is easier said than done.
Right. Which all sounds wonderful in theory, but I have to represent the listener here and push back on how practical this actually is.
Go ahead. What's the hurdle?
The hurdle is life. I mean, how do we implement boundaries that are actually realistic and consistent? We've all done the extreme digital purge where we delete every app in a fit of motivation.
Oh, yeah. The Sunday night purge.
Exactly. And then 3 days later, we re-download all of them because the restriction was just too severe. Or the rule about keeping the phone out of the bedroom. What if there's a family emergency? Most people use their phone as their alarm clock anyway. How do we bypass these very real logistical excuses?
This raises an important question about sustainability versus perfection. The text explicitly states that boundaries must be realistic to work.
So no cold turkey.
Right. Small, consistent changes create long-term behavioral shifts. If you go from 10 hours of screen time to 0 overnight, you will experience that emotional withdrawal we discussed earlier. You will fail.
Makes sense.
Instead, you change the environment by introducing friction.
Friction. Okay, making the bad habit slightly harder to do.
Exactly. You don't rely on willpower. You engineer your environment. You leave the phone in another room during dinner, so you actually have to stand up and walk to check it.
And most of the time, you just won't bother.
Exactly. Regarding the bedroom, you buy a $10 standalone alarm clock. And if you are worried about an emergency call, you leave the phone in the hallway on loud, but physically out of reach from the bed. You are modifying your default choices.
Okay, so let's say we execute this. We declutter the digital pantry. We set up these realistic boundaries using friction. What happens next?
Well, you've created a vacuum.
Right. We suddenly have this vacuum. We have reclaimed all this free time that used to be spent scrolling. Where does it go? This is a massive pivot in the blueprint. We transition from managing the digital world back into engaging with the physical world.
Because nature abhors a vacuum. If you don't intentionally fill that newly reclaimed time, you will inevitably slide right back into your old digital habits out of sheer inertia.
You'll just pick the phone right back up.
Yeah. So the research focuses intensely on replacing impulsive scrolling with structured analog routines.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the physiological stakes become incredibly clear. Let's talk about reclaiming the morning.
A crucial part of the day.
The text points out that most people begin their day by checking their phones the literal second they open their eyes. You wake up, you roll over, and you open your email or the news.
Before your feet even hit the floor.
Right. You are instantly importing other people's emergencies, demands, and global crises into your brain before you even had a glass of water.
And it causes a massive disruption to your cortisol awakening response.
Your what?
Your cortisol awakening response.
Yeah.
Your body naturally produces cortisol to wake you up. But when you flood your system with digital stress immediately, you spike that hormone to unhealthy levels.
Oh, wow. So you're starting the day stressed on a chemical level.
Exactly. The blueprint suggests a much healthier morning routine. Stretching, physical exercise, journaling, reading a physical book, or just, quiet reflection.
The analog thing.
Yes. By starting the day calmly in the physical world, you stabilize your nervous system for the rest of the day.
And the same logic applies to evenings, right? Instead of endless scrolling in bed to quote-unquote wind down, which, let's be honest, never actually winds you down,
Never.
the text suggests family conversations, light exercise, or analog hobbies. But this brings up something I really want to clarify.
Sure, it is.
If the research tells us that reading a physical book or journaling in the morning improves emotional balance, is it because of the activity itself or simply the absence of the digital noise?
That is an excellent distinction, and it is a powerful combination of both.
Okay, so a 2-for-1.
Exactly. The absence of digital noise stops the continuous drain on your attention residue and emotional reserves.
Mm.
But the physical activity, whether it's journaling, walking, or looking a family member in the eye gaggle, actively rebuilds your cognitive bandwidth. We see this synthesis beautifully when the text lists the benefits of this balanced lifestyle. When you replace digital consumption with physical routines, you see improved sleep, stronger relationships, increased creativity, and vastly better emotional health.
It's like relearning how to read a map after relying on a GPS for a decade. It takes time for your brain to trust its own internal navigation, its own ability to focus again.
That's a great way to look at it.
And nothing repairs that brain function quite like sleep, which is fundamentally under attack by our devices. The research goes hard on this. Excessive screen exposure before bed, specifically the blue light, interferes with our natural sleep architecture.
The mechanism here is purely biological. The specific wavelength of blue light emitted by our smartphones biologically tricks your pineal gland into thinking the sun is still up.
So your brain thinks it's high noon.
Right. This completely halts the production of melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle.
And the text notes that research has found, people who spend their bedtime on their phones don't just feel groggy. They develop serious sleeping disorders that tank their daily productivity and quality of life.
It's a cascade effect.
It really is. It delays the onset of REM sleep, meaning even if you are unconscious for 8 hours, your brain isn't getting the restorative cycles it needs. The rule they offer.
If you're enjoying this series, the complete ebook includes additional exercises, examples, and practical tips. You'll find the link in the description.